yeah, I didn't have a father, and that breaks my heart, but I'm going to cling to the cross. I'm going to cling to Christ, and I'm going to submit to him. And I know he'll make my path straight. He'll provide that counsel to me. He'll send the people in the right time to be able to be that for me.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Obliterating social norms and overrunning the cultural corrosion with righteous rhetoric and common sense. This is Overflow, the extended conversation covering life, today's newsbreakers, and the occasional banter with the most interesting members of the human species. Signaling from the conservative chasm of Central Valley, California. It's the outlaws your conscience warned you about. Let's welcome your hosts, Loto and Philville.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to Overflow EXT. It is number 40. Wow. Man. Philville, what you got on my 40, bro?
42, your memory. Who knows that one?
Right.
Who knows that song?
Throwback. Yes, sir.
Google it.
40, bro.
Yes, 40. They want to say it's a midlife crisis. No, I think it's the best prime time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's amazing, bro. Yeah, so I guess Overflow is in the mid life crisis. But seriously, 40. They say 40 is the new 20 and all that stuff, But yeah, I'm still stunned, bro. But praise God, there's a lot you could do with 40 ounces. I heard that from Philville. Anyways,
Okay.
Speaking of hearing from Philville, let's drop the drip.
All right, woke at the box office. Yes, Pixar dropping some bombs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then an update with Mr. Elon Musk himself. He's going into a fight.
Ding, 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 ding,
yeah,
ding.
and then, yes, we got to talk about the tragedy and the submarine.
Yes, man.
In the headlines. And then World War happening, yes, across the world, but also, too, is taking place. War on women.
Yeah.
War on civil rights. And we got to talk about war on justice. And the Durham reports, reprimand, all that and the above. And then I'm looking forward to this segment too with a special on the scene reporter from down in LA concerning the Dodgers. Yep. And also the extended conversation with a very special friend of here.
Awesome.
A longtime friend.
Can't wait.
Yeah, can't wait with, you know who?
Brandon Daniels.
Yes, and that.
Man.
Yeah, a whole lot more here on Overflow EXT podcast. And a lot of things taking place, man. There's so much to catch up on, but I know that you've been celebrating some wins
Praise
with
God.
a great dear sister of yours.
Yes.
Who's that?
So, Sister Maria, thank you, everybody. Thank you, family, for praying for Maria Quintero. Man, we asked you guys to pray for her and her family. She was the one that was in the hospital, bro, with the blood condition. Her platelet counts, for those that don't know, you want to at least have 150,000 when it comes to that count.
Yes.
She got all the way down, to about 6,000. She woke up with bruises. They went to the hospital to see what's going on. That's when they found out something wasn't right. Their count went all the way down to 1,000 last week, bro. That's when I had brought it to the family and asked everybody for prayer. And she was stuck there. And then her count went into the basement, bro. It went into the negative.
Yeah.
So it got really scary, man. I was checking up on Harvey because, for us, we get to pray and then we get to go home, bro, to our wives. He had to walk that journey with her, and so, man, long story short, today, folks, thank you for praying again.
Yes.
That thing got up to 190,000,
Yes.
brother. Praise God,
Yes.
I was telling Harvey, I was like, man, Maria's going to have to start donating platelets probably after this, But yeah, awesome. Big, huge W, man, for the Quintero family, man. And for all of us, man. She's such a great, team member, when it comes to going and ministering to not just JJC youth, but youth everywhere, bro. So and we're excited, man.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And I remember that you were sharing here on Overflow that right outside the hospital, man, some footage that we shown, just like the power of God hitting out there.
Yes.
And dozens out there just celebrating the goodness of God and then anticipating it and knowing there's a miracle coming.
Yeah.
And praise God, I got the good report.
It was awesome, bro, because, the thing is about Maria, so again, like I said last week, she had the phone, brought to me because she wanted to tell me, hey, there's people out there that don't know Jesus. And I'm just tripping like, girl, you're the one in the hospital and you're worried about everybody out here. You know, and so it was awesome. And you know what her saying was this whole time?
What's that?
It's a hashtag. It should be on a shirt. It was watch God work. Every time
Yes.
she got to say it, she said it. You know, so it was. We definitely got to watch God work, brother.
You know, speaking of watching, I know that you watched something very kind of, it was a little bit older, but it's timeless because of what is a historic
yes.
reflection back on actually a crucial part of American history.
Oh yes, yes, Band of Brothers. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, bro. I finally got to watch that. Oh my gosh,
What-
I highly recommend it, especially during this time. You know, getting near 4th of July, and very, very sobering, very inspiring. You know, but there was a little something that happened, bro. So I finished it, and it was probably like 1 or 2 in the morning. You know. And so I finished it. Now, mind you, this is a very intense miniseries about the war. So I'm talking invasion. I'm talking about being surrounded. I love one of their quotes from the 101 paratroopers. You know, during the war, they got saved by Patton's legendary general of World War II by his tanks, right?
Yeah.
And they interviewed the guy and said, "So what do you guys think about Patton?" He said, "No, it's great. We're grateful, but we didn't need to be rescued." You know, so it was just, man, I loved it. That said it all for me for this show. But so again, bro, I'm watching I'm listening to all this war sounds, guns, invasions, cities being taken over, cities being taken back, and all of that. And then I finished the show, and then my Twitter feed starts blowing up, and it's all these videos of military exercises that's going on around the country.
Oh, the algorithm.
At that point, at that time, like this is going on real time, throughout the day, and just all these people are like, what's going on with this? So yeah, bro, my whole paranoia kicked in. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to war right now. They're coming there. So it was an awesome miniseries, man. I highly recommend, especially during this time, bro. So
wasn't Spielberg part of that too?
Spielberg was part of that. That's interesting about Tom Hanks, right? Maybe even Spielberg. Tom Hanks is like super woke, man, but he makes fantastic wartime movies. I mean, his he does a great job when it comes to these things. So I really appreciate his work when it comes to the military and our history, of this nation.
Yeah,
but he is pretty woke.
Yeah, and also too, you celebrated Father's Day with the Fab Five.
Yes, yes. But before we jump onto that, like I said, bro, I want to go on a binge.
Okay.
So I'm thinking my next one is Patriot. What's your go-to for this time, bro? 4th of July. What's your go-to?
4th of July go-to?
Movie.
I don't know if I have one because I have go-to general movies, but what is a war movie?
You probably have one, but never thought of it.
Yeah, I know. I do like Saving Private Ryan. That's a good one. That's
Braveheart.
Braveheart. Okay, freedom.
Yes, yeah, bro.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I do love great World War II movies, and some of them, especially like the one you saw, and I know Saving Private Ryan, very gruesome, but the reality of war. I mean, we're going to talk about profiting off wars, and war is not a game. And we need more diplomacy. I know here in the world.
Now I know you asked us real quick about my Father's Day, bro. I've talked a lot. How was your Father's Day?
My Father's Day, it was great. First we started off the Father's Day weekend. We went out of town on Friday. We went to Avila Beach.
Nice.
What is that? Mr. Matt, maybe it looks like the Truman Show. Back in the day with Jim Carrey. To me, just the way that it just looks and feels.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's down the street, not too far from Pismo. But I love it. It was
I love
clean
that
and the atmosphere. Yeah. But of course, who was always asking for the beach all the time? Beach is Mia, of course. So you could be going daycare in the morning.
Good girl, yes.
She's like beach, and I pick her up beach.
Awesome,
or put beach or playground, one or the other. So I'm like, we'll go to the playground. You want to make her happy, but it's great. She wants to go deep in the water.
Really?
Yeah, she's 3 years old, just fearless.
Awesome, man.
Just running in there and just playing in the sand. We tried to get her to take a nap on the beach, but she just played with the sand. But yeah, good time. And also too, just fast forward. I got this little gift, woke up on Sunday morning. Let's see if you know what it is. I'm going to hand it to you. Put your hand out to the right there. Okay.
Well, definitely a bobblehead.
It is a bobblehead.
Let's see here. Is it a Transformers?
It is Elliot with E.T. on the bike. Right there. Yes.
Are you serious,
a famous childhood movie for those child of the 80s there. Yeah. I remember, I remember my mom taking me to, or watching it. Maybe I was, and crying at that. It was just
18 phone.
See it right here?
Yes.
E.T., great bobblehead. The Mrs. the wife surprised me with.
That is awesome.
Great gift. And of course, the day goes, I got to share this right here. Here's a little heartfelt from the church. They took a picture of Mia, and then it's in a frame at church, and it says "Dad, you rock" with a little rock with eyes on it and a smiley face. And just that was great there. Yeah. And of course, I'm sharing here. And then another show and tell is a little dad joke they gave you. So here's a chocolate chip, Nabisco they gave.
Oh,
and it says, "Chip, chip, hooray. Happy Father's Day." I just saw that. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Matt. He wanted me to show a little gifts there. But show and tell, Father's Day. Hey, man, it's priceless. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Third Father's Day.
Enjoy it, bro. Enjoy it while you can, man, and while she's growing up, brother, because one day she's going to grow up. She's going to grow up. It's like the old thing. Man, remember when they were so cute? You know? And then when they grow up, it's like, Dad, who?
You're chasing them, right?
Yes. You gotta chase them down.
They're chasing you when they're little, then all of a sudden, like, where are they at? Yeah, that's I do love watching her just having a great time. Awesome, but yeah, man. and you celebrate, kind of spread out a little bit, huh?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I celebrated 2 Father's Day this year. You know, so obviously, Father's Day was different this year.
Yeah.
With my pop, passing last year, right around this time, going through that whole thing.
Yeah.
But I've always shared that I was adopted by my grandparents, and my grandpa that raised me, he's still with us. So I had to get up there, grandpa's, pushing 80, is he 82? Matter of fact, he just changed a year. So anyways, man, it was really, really cool, bro. And I just encourage everyone, just to celebrate your fathers, celebrate your mothers,
Yeah.
Man, it's become so real to me that we do not have them forever. That one day they're not going to be there at that table. They won't be there for Christmas or anything like that. So just, whenever you can, go and see them, give them a call. I'm not sure how many more Father's Day I get with my grandpa, bro, my pop. And our families has experienced so many miracles. It's like, man, I'm not sure how many more miracles we have too, so it was really, really awesome being up there. My sisters, oh my gosh, Phil, there's a reason why I'm like 100 pounds more than I'm supposed to be. My gosh, even when I go to functions and events, I have a bad habit of comparing food to their cooking that I grew up on. We had different types of fish. We had ginger chicken. We had some more, the taros.
Hey, you got to work on the dad bod. Come on,
father figure.
Yes,
I'm working on my father figure, bro.
Figure,
yes,
right.
the beach is coming.
I like that.
So I got to go to the beach first. Man, but yeah, bro. We had tres leches. That's Grandpa's favorite. Go to, and my sister made apple crisp, apple pie, fresh, bro. And blueberry, and then also a peach cobbler pie with vanilla. Brother, it was hard to not gorge, So yeah, we did that, and then on Tuesday, because I was out of town, my kids, man, the Fab Five surprised me with the Father's Day lunch, man. That was So we, they all came over. Maria took her lunch. Came over, man. Matai grilled it up. The boy's a master griller. Some of you guys see on Instagram. He loves to cook, So yeah, it was fantastic, man. I'm learning more and more, man. Just time is invaluable.
It is definitely. And I was thinking about you, praying for you.
Thank you, bro.
This time, I know how it is.
Appreciate that message,
especially
too.
that first. It's bittersweet in a sense, you look at, especially your loved ones, like you celebrate their life, but you still miss them.
Yeah.
And you still definitely miss them, and we'll definitely keep you in prayer in that.
Thank you, bro.
But man, the legacy continues on with the Fab Five, and then of course little Mia, and I love Father's Day.
Yes.
But you know what we did? We Father's Day, I'm kind of like a little kid, a little boy, and the wife. I'm like, hey, we gotta go see a movie. We talked a few times here on Overflow, and we saw this movie, that movie, but what I've been waiting a very long time. I'm a DC fan. Is the one that just came out, and it was, what was it? Yes, The Flash.
About time.
Yes. They've been working on that. I can't believe 8 to 10 years to get that movie out.
Yes.
Yeah, and it finally dropped. And
was it worth the wait?
For me, yes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fun. The critics are mixed. It's really mixed.
Yeah.
But some critics say it's the James Gunn himself. It's the best superhero movie ever. Some say it's the top 3. Some say the top 5. Some say they hate it because they do make fun of the CGI. I enjoyed it. It was, to me, it was a stylistic thing.
Yeah.
Some say it wasn't complete, but they sprinkled just enough Michael Keaton. That's not a spoiler because they did talk about it in the trailer.
Really?
Yeah, and of course Supergirl's in there. But this Supergirl I think is a lot more tough.
Okay.
The way she presented, of course, there's some cameos that you're like, you gotta good surprises if you haven't seen it.
That's awesome. Cameos. I love those.
And there was definitely a controversy. Did they have a premiere and they were trying to keep Ezra away from the promotions for obvious reasons because nobody endorses anything that he's done. And I guess supposedly he had a mental break, and he did talk about he finally went to the premiere, talked about the grace that he's been given, just pray for him. Again, we'll see where things land. But in spite of what happened, I personally just love the movie. I mean, it's a fun superhero movie. It had everything.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Could that movie have done without Ezra?
No. The way he delivers it. Remember, what happened to him personally was after they already made the movie.
Yeah,
it was in post.
That's my only. Yeah. My thing is like I'm not sure if I would have went forward with the movie, but again, I don't have like $100 million, to go waste it and all that, So
yeah, I wouldn't recast him.
Yeah,
in the current state until till
moving
later.
Forward.
Yeah, moving forward.
Yeah.
Do I believe in second chances? Again, it takes a while. I mean, of course, you can mention like Mike Tyson and everybody. It took years later that kind of redemption story a little bit, but. You can go down the list with everybody.
No, that's the thing about this. It's so close.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So, definitely.
Not that time makes it any less. Critical. But we'll see, man. I hope everything gets sorted out with all that. But I'm glad that they finally had. It's funny, right? It's about Flash, but it took forever to happen, and
it was pretty slow. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the old Flash movie?
The old Flash.
Was it Flash Gordon?
No, I don't remember did they have a movie? I know they had a TV show back when we were younger.
I think they actually had one even before that, back in the 80s, the Golden Guy. I forget his name. Or maybe it was a TV show, but I thought it was a movie. It was okay. It was kind of corny. Yeah. But my question was, I wasn't sure if that's the same Flash that they were talking about in this one.
Yeah, I remember the Flash thing us growing up. I don't remember that one, but I remember the one when we were younger. He was in the actual CW as another Flash character. They started bridging all the universes together.
I
forgot his name. Not Garrett. That's the name of the character. But So
I think
love
there was one before. Yeah.
There's and there'll be plenty of more because the way they do the multiverse, I think I like it a little way better than Marvel.
Spider-Man. What's the comparison?
Spider-Man. The Spider-Verse.
Yes. Which was better?
The Flash for me.
Really? But you're a DC though, yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Man, now I'm thinking about my reaction. You know what? If I had to put both of them, it'd probably be my top 5 superhero movies with Iron Man, Ragnarok.
Oh man,
and then
Iron Man. Yes.
Probably Michael Keaton first Batman.
Man, believe me, I want to jump out of this chair when I hear the name Michael Keaton, and Batman together. That is just, my gosh, bro.
When you hear that music come on from Tim Burton.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, that's Superman. That's the wrong song.
But yeah, Spider-Man, speaking of him, I didn't get to mention last time about, what's his name, Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Or Tim, yeah,
Tom
man.
Holland.
That guy, man, I respect, because I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but the last few Spider-Mans wouldn't have happened without him. He's the one that pulled all the Spider-Mans together, to make some of the Avengers happen, and he was the spearhead of that. I'm not sure if everybody realizes, without him, we wouldn't be talking about a lot of the Spider-Man movies the way we're talking about it today. So, but awesome, man. So yes, Flash.
Yeah, I love that. And there's a lot more to talk about. Some other things coming up. Speaking of which, you know what time it is? It's time for...
It's your news makers and breakers.
Another occasion of woke going bomb in the box office. I know this was on your list to watch. The movie Elemental, Daily Mail is reporting, as many others, is Disney's Pixar's first film to have, a non-binary character, but becomes studio's worst performing film on opening weekend after taking just $29 million, and they've lost so much money. And I don't know, is this another example of woke going broke, Lodo?
Phil, I wouldn't even know about this movie if it wasn't for the story. Like I never heard of the movie.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The thing that really just comes to my mind first, bro, is honestly, we've been saying this from the beginning. You go woke, you go broke. And that's a real statement. My concern is for the people that works, the working crew, the stage crew, all these people who, pours their sweat, blood, and tears into this, and they're gonna suffer from it. I wish that everybody would get a payday, but because people keep pushing their agendas, you look at Target. That's one thing, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the 13 point whatever billion that they lost and all that. Man, that represents employees. That represents like fathers and mothers, single parents, who's taking care of kids and all that. And it's so sad that they're suffering because, somebody wants to push, again, gender. They want to push their stuff, and so now we got people, that's got to pay the price for that. That's sad. This movie, total bomb, and we saw it with Lightyear.
Yeah, we've seen it everywhere. Lightyear, and quick mention on there on the Elementor, I believe that's how you say it. One of the voice actors, the one in the main character, one of the main two characters, says his name is Hauser, who is also a I can't say it now, non-binary, to take social media to reveal the historic news that played the first non-binary character from the renowned animation studio. Again, like you said, they're kind of trying to shove it down our throats. I mean, they do not learn from this. From Buzz Lightyear, like you talked about, which tanked, and they actually fired that director. They said for non-related political reasons, but again, the success of that, I mean, why would they keep them? They're trying to cut, and of course, the Strange World. I tried watching a little bit to get kind of for research, but Disney's Strange World also bombed a while back, and so they have not been having a lot of success with these themes. Again, this is for children. This is not talking about the adult movies. It's a little different, I feel. But why do we want our kids to watch this? And they try to sneak things in. Actually, it went past me. I know. I loved the Spider-Verse movie. Yeah, but I guess Gwen had a trans flag, I guess, in the background, and I did not even realize that was the case. But I don't know what that means. But it is hard to run from it. They're trying to really change the culture. I guess that's why they're talking about the culture wars.
And that's their decision. And again, bro, remember we said early on at the beginning of this whole show. The thing is, we're not trying to get everybody fired. And that's the difference, right? Yeah. When we say something that they disagree with, oh my gosh, they need to fire us, they need to get rid of us, and all that. But no, we're not trying to just correct the issue. And again, bro, like all these actors and even writers, they might be just amazing, sweetest pie, great people, bro. Even transgenders. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone just the greatest people, right? I grew up with the LGBT community, with a lot of people from there. So, but it's sad that it's like, man, you gotta overdo it, and what happens? They overreach all over again, And so now they're suffering the consequences. Why can't it just be a good movie? I don't even know what this movie's about. This is the first time I'm even hearing about the movie.
Yeah, I guess there's different elements. There's water, there's fire, different one, and I guess it kind of pushes immigration sense of
Immigration,
ideology,
climate,
the climate stuff,
same old.
Yeah, the whole pronouns, and
Yeah.
again, it's. I mean, we saw that in Transformers. The whole cartoons are being now non-binary.
Yeah. See, and that's and again, we're not trying to fire people and all that. These are people that we probably would support otherwise, you know. Just get that stuff out of our face, you know. Who said that? Get that corner out of my face, you know. Again, Phil, you mentioned other movies that they did, bro. I just watched Flaming Hot. That was another show that I got to watch.
Okay.
Another movie.
Yeah.
Loved it, bro. Especially because you know, it's about a janitor. You know, I'm the son of two janitors, you know, and I just loved it, you know. Super Mario Brothers. So these movies are like fantastic movies. It's like, can they just be movies and not your agenda pushers, you know? But I get it, man. Hey, it's their money, it's their businesses, they want to do with it. The issue though here, if there's an issue, you pointed to it, bro. It's targeted to kids. That's definitely, you know, like, no, you're not just going to target our kids and get away with that.
Yeah, as the culture wars were fighting the culture, you know. And speaking of fight, Fox Business is reporting that did you hear this? Mark Zuckerberg agrees to a cage fight.
Wow.
With who? Yeah. Apparently, Elon Musk made a challenge to the CEO of Meta, formerly known as Facebook itself, that he was willing to challenge him to a match in the cage fight. I know you love that type of fighting, right? So would you watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought of the reaction. This is like, you know, we're living in the Matrix or something. Like they're trying to fight now, the CEOs. Hey,
Right.
I love the article here on Breitbart. The headline is Nerd War. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg agree to cage fight. Yeah, I think they'll make a lot of money in UFC pay-per-view.
I wonder, is it going to be on Twitter, on Meta, or both? That's pretty interesting.
They're going to be on Facebook Live. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. I would assume maybe they'll just go to YouTube
or probably True Social. Pretty sure, or Getter.
You know, if they start fighting, I bet you they'll start to rumble.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's no laughing matter. I mean, this has been in the headlines. It's very tragic. Just hear breaking news. Here on CNN is reporting missing Titanic subcrew believed to be dead after catastrophic implosion. I don't even know the details of that. I'm not sure if they went too low, but I know that they had some technical things that are controlling it. The submarine.
So they did find him.
They found the debris around there in Titanic.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's a tragedy over another tragedy, but it's been in the headlines, and we do want to pause and just acknowledge that lives are being impacted, families. Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, there was some side news because of this. I guess there's a stepson of a billionaire that was on that, apparently that vessel, and it's going viral for constantly tweeting about such things as a Blink-182 concert while his stepdad was missing during this time, and he got a lot of slack with that. So, pray for that. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, first of all, everyone, please keep everybody in prayer that's impacted by this. This is it's terrible news. As far as the stepson, you know, I have to say everybody deals with grief differently. Yeah, I'm not sure if he chucked through, like, you know, my stepdad would want me to just continue my life, or maybe he was encouraged by somebody else, you know, or you know, I'm not sure the relationship with the father. We just don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know the kid, you know, and I do know that everybody deals with grief differently, you know, and we just got to pray for him, you know, and just the rest of the loved ones and families, you know, that's related to this tragedy.
War is good business, apparently. It's an evil thing. We talked about World War II, but you know, there's always the rumor of wars here across the world, from China to Russia, Ukraine. And, you know, America's in trouble, and there's a lot of different fronts here happening in America, including the cultural wars. So, you know, across here in China, we are seeing a threat here trying to impact us economically, and also, too, down south in Cuba. Lola, what is China doing here? What's going on here?
So they had their, they actually got caught, with having spying right there in Cuba, practically our front doorstep, and then with everything else that's piled on, with the balloons, all of that stuff. And I believe that we had a visitor go over there. Well, actually, our Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, went over there, and terrible meeting, bro. I mean, it did not help America. As a matter of fact, it put us in a backseat again with this administration.
China and Cuba is referring to is negotiating right now to establish a new joint military training facility on the island. And of course, people are alarmed right now here in the U.S., but they've actually been spying on us for years now. And now we're just hearing about it, but they're just about 100 miles from Florida's coast. And I think it should be very concerning. It should be a top priority, but we're talking about all these other things.
Yeah, and China is our most dangerous enemy right now, so it's very concerning. As far as, the spying and all that started happening when, again, this administration came into play, during Trump's time, President Trump, we didn't hear nothing about no Cuba. We didn't hear anything about a lot of these communist countries. Matter of fact, there's many that can actually make the case that maybe Ukraine and all these other things would have happened. But again, like you quoted at the beginning of this segment, bro, there's those BlackRock. We'll be talking about them pretty soon, who said war is good business. That's evil.
It is very evil. We're funding a lot of this, these wars. I mean, what's happening there in Ukraine. Did you hear about this? I don't know if you saw this across the wire. Breitbart is reporting the Pentagon accounting error provides extra $6.2 billion for Ukraine military aid. I guess they pretty much doubled our funding by just accounting error. Yeah,
right. Yeah. It's oops. It's like a 6.5 billion oops. A lot of this administration's steps has been followed up with a bunch of oops, bro. I'm not sure if our country can handle any more of that. But yeah, there's a lot of concerning things. Tony Blinken, again, he went over there to China, talked to China, and there was a lot of things that he could have addressed, but he didn't. He left it out. So I mean, the spy balloon thing, didn't even bring that up. This whole Cuba thing, didn't bring that up. He didn't go there to talk on behalf of America. He went over there to apologize to China. That's what he went to go do, bro. And of all days, this was on the Father's Day. This was on Father's Day. And that's, for those that know China politics, you know how significant that is, that one of our leaders goes over there and kowtows, to them. And then he talks about, we don't stand with Taiwan and we're not for independent Taiwan. We're not? Who is he speaking for, So yeah, there was a lot of things that he had to miss. And then he even showed, he came back here. He shows regrets. I didn't, I forgot to talk, or I forgot to restart, the military talk, or that's something I should have talked about. No, buddy, it's a lot more than that. It's their spying. It's their stealing our inventions. It's a lot more than just you didn't restart the military. They don't want to talk. Yeah. They want us as slaves. That's what they want.
Yep. His quote was, "We do not support Taiwan independence." We got back and forth on that so many times. That's just a green light. I'm pretty sure within 2 years, especially, this is just my opinion, that while Biden's in office, he's going to be completely tested. Actually, he's been tested this whole time. He's not doing anything about Cuba. Now he's not doing anything about the COVID thing. He's had several conversations with Xi and has not brought up COVID once. And speaking of fathers, there's a lot of kids without fathers because they died of COVID.
Yes, absolutely, bro. And it is so sad. Tony Blinken went over there and pulled a John Cena, bro. Remember when John Cena apologized because he called Taiwan a country? And he had to. China had him make a video to apologize for calling Taiwan a country, which is a country.
King James, everything. Remember that? Remember that NBA? China is so embedded here in America pop culture, from business, all of it. Everything. Speaking of, the money, there was some, this video just dropped. James O'Keefe, formerly from Project Veritas, now has OMG Media. He had a little undercover thing going on, and it's kind of quite scary when you listen to it.
I work for a company called BlackRock. I'm not actually a finance guy. I know what happens because I'm recruiting people who do these things. I'm the person who headhunts people from other firms. So I would approach you and be like, hey, this is a good reason why you should come work for us.
Serge tells us who really runs the world, how they do it, and just how much it costs to buy people, like politicians.
Let me tell you, it's not through who's the president. It's who's controlling the wallet. So it's the
And who's that?
The hedge funds, BlackRock, the banks. These guys run campaign financing. Yep, you can buy your candidates.
How so?
All of these financial institutions, they buy politicians.
How do they run the world?
You acquire stuff. You diversify, you acquire, you keep acquiring, you spend whatever you make in acquiring more. And at a certain point, your risk level is super low. Like
Pfizer, now BlackRock owns many parts of America and corporations.
This is really sick, bro. I mean, he just said it literally that war is good for business. You know, I mentioned even on Kingdom Talk Radio about the military and industrial complex. You know that these people make money. They make billions and billions off of people, you know, losing lives, losing loved ones, and all that. You said earlier about kids not having parents because of or fathers because of COVID. Man, you imagine Ukrainian children that don't have fathers because of this war, you know, and just how sick this guy talks about it. It's like it's just matter of fact, like it's not a big deal, you know. But yeah, so now we're starting, you know, I'm man, James O'Keefe, bro. That dude's a G, brother.
That lady got him to say, you got $10,000, you could buy a senator.
That made me mad.
Yeah.
That really made me mad. You mean to tell me all I need to get is $10,000 I can have my own senator? Like that really made me mad. I thought it cost more than that. Just kidding. But so
yeah.
So it's you know, but yeah, I mean it was sad how he's talking about it. But folks, the curtains are being pulled back. You know, again, believe your eyes, believe your ears. You know, this calls into question, bro, everything. Why are we sending so much money here? You know, and why certain people get in trouble and certain people don't.
Yeah, it's, you know, essentially they run the world. That's the quote. That's basically what he's saying. They're involved in media. I mean, even Fox News, which, you know, we've been talking about it a little bit, is they are the number 2 contributor to Fox News and other media outlets, MSNBC. I mean, they own
them all. The news media, also Target, you know, so like, and these guys have just this big old money scheme where they don't really lose money. It just gets funneled to something else. Hey, people don't want to go to Target, or they'll go shopping somewhere else, but most likely they own the other place. So it's just recycling money and all that. But I am glad that people really are stepping up because again, bro, with Bud Light's, what was it? 26 billion. And I think it's more than that now. Target's 13 point something billion. Yeah. That really makes a statement, you know? So I think we should still be vigilant, but yeah, this is a fight up against the hill, but we're going to do it.
Chinese company makes underperforming workers eat. I thought it was a joke. Eat pungent, bitter gourd. Is that how you say it? Gourd, yes. Yeah. And I you know, I were talking, and this sound like a joke, like, but no, this is actually a real thing. I thought they lost a bet or something. And they were forced as a punishment because they didn't meet their quota.
Again, Tony Blinken missed an opportunity to address some very important things like the what is it, the Wiggins,
yeah, that's right,
and the Muslim slaves out there that they have or camps, encampments, you know, and so a lot of these things. And yeah, bro, this is a communist country, so it doesn't surprise me that they're doing this to their own employees.
Yeah, we've been having wars and rumors of war internationally now, but there's wars happening here. We call them the cultural wars.
Really,
and there's a war on women.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Well, there's a different type of war.
No, it's definitely a war on women.
Well, about the redefinition of what is a woman. Okay, so FoxNews.com is reporting here about the Capitol Hill testimony that took place. And Kelly Robinson, who describes herself as the first queer black president of the Human Rights Campaign, was asked the question by Senator John Kennedy. Says males have an advantage over women in sports. And here's their exchange.
Women
you don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, you know, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger
James,
than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Folks, again, I said it from the beginning. This whole, these groups, they're anti-women clubs, and this is definitely a war on women. And I even mean that literally, bro. We have girls that are injured because they're playing against male athletes, and so, matter of fact, I was just watching a story about another young lady who is still recovering from an injury that she had. And it's so sad. You can hear her and how slow she is now. I'm pretty sure that she's, a young, peppy step girl that, is quick-witted and all that, but you can tell that something's wrong, And so again, bro, and I love, Riley Gaines, and her taking a step, a real woman, talking about real women issues. Again, it's just crazy because I remember all the talk about we're pro-women. They don't sound too pro-women now. I can't believe this transgender is talking about, comparing guys to girls. And then she says, well, there's some guys I can beat and some guys that I can't. Yeah, I know, right? Like my little sister, I probably could run a little bit faster than her,
There's another war taking place on civil rights, and we came across this very tragic here on the Post Millennial. A female student alleges she was raped in trans inclusive bathroom at New Mexico Middle School.
Yeah.
I know that really just pulled out our hearts here, just seeing what took place as far as in the article. She said, I was raped. Expletive, kill me. She wrote in her diary, she was pressured not to tell or share what took place with her. But if it wasn't for her diary that her mom read, the mom would not have found out. Again, this is a middle school, actually a sixth grader. Yeah. ASK Academy Charter School. And this is completely just outrageous. A biological male raped this young girl.
Yes, this is a sixth grader, bro, again. And they got raped in sixth grade, and her mom didn't know anything about it. But it explained a lot of things for her mom because there was such a drastic change in her child's, personality, her outlook on life and all that, as she was more withdrawn. She was more down, and the mom didn't know anything until she was, I believe, cleaning her room, bro, and came across, her daughter's diary, and that those words were written in there. I was raped. I believe she was, pardon the language, effing kill me. And the reason why her mom didn't know anything, bro, is, as the daughter explains, she was practically bullied into silence. And that's why we say that this is a war on civil rights. I remember when we cared about people's rights. I remember when we cared about, and what says civil rights more than parents' rights, right? That these parents, the protector of their children, and they're not even allowed to protect their children. Those rights were taken away from them. She was robbed, bro, of protecting her child at the time this thing happened, and this poor child, her civil rights were taken from her because they bullied her into thinking that if she said anything that she was going to be a bad person, that she would be labeled a hater, a bigot, somebody, a homophobic, and it caused her to be silenced, bro, about something that happened to her, bro. She got raped. Not only was her voice taken away, her voice was kept away, bro.
Man, it's tragedy. She's now 13, but she was saying that her school had an ideology of far left culture, which she felt like really, really created a condition that the teachers are really pressuring and the faculty to accept the presence of men, biological males, in women's spaces. So that environment.
You bring up a really good point that, because of this, she was pretty much desensitized. Like there was no alert no more. There wasn't this awareness like, oh my gosh, that's a boy in my bathroom, because it became so normalized that her guard wasn't even up.
Yeah, and in a side note, and there was a spa in LA. They lost a court case from a liberal judge passing say that the men were allowed to be in women's locker rooms.
Yep.
And the spa, which was
what about the women's civil rights?
Exactly.
What about their civil rights?
Exactly, and civil rights, including speaking of about their civil rights, landlords now, those who have properties, and the squad is now pushing legislation that will keep criminal records from people applying for rental housing. Which, if you have somebody who steals, who's somebody who will eventually be a squatter, you will not get that information because they're pushing that legislation to ban that, make it illegal to do background checks.
What about the landlord civil rights, right? What about their civil rights? And this thing is just going across the board. There's a war on civil rights. We're dealing with the AB 957 that Newsom has just talked about, and that takes a parent's rights away to disagree with the child who thinks that they're of a different gender than they were born. Matter of fact, it's not just, you're a bad parent. No, you're a dangerous parent. So we need to lock you up. Matter of fact, we need to put you away, and we're going to take your child away from you.
Yes, yeah.
What about the parents' rights?
They're redefining everything from the justice system.
Speaking of justice,
all that. It's more injustice. So speaking of justice, there is a war on justice here in America, a war on justice here on the political realm, a war on justice in the justice system. A lot of politicization of courtrooms now, and also 2 plea deals, because there's a plea deal that took place that is raising eyebrows. Hunter Biden, well, he's going to plead guilty in 2 tax counts and 1 gun charge. He's going to go to wait in prison for 10 years, 20 years. Nope. Just a slap in the hand. And people are really upset because they're saying this 2-tier justice system, because what happened with Trump, who could potentially be charged up to 400 years in prison, to somebody who will never see a jail cell.
Yeah, right. It wasn't a plea deal, bro. It was a sweetheart deal. That's exactly what it was. Man, we were talking about war on justice. There's all these different wars going on, the war on women, the war on civil rights. Now we have this, case of war on justice. And that's not just a cute saying. That's not just some nice word bomb we're throwing out there. If you look at this case, it makes the point. Wesley Snipes doesn't pay his taxes. Wesley Snipes goes to jail. Hunter Biden doesn't pay his child support. He gets a $15,000 reduction, bro. This guy went from paying $20,000 to $5,000. Like, what in the world? We have people who's looked at gun charges and all that. This guy looks at gun charges. He gets to go home. The other guys get to go to prison.
Yeah, here on New York Post, as you were alluding to, there's an article here. A headline says Black men are being jailed years for same crimes as Hunter Biden rep Wesley Hunt says. And you go down the list. I think Ja Rule. What is that singer?
I was surprised that Lauryn Hill also.
Lauryn Hill. That's what I was thinking about right there. She was for $1 million. I think she was 3 months in jail.
Gosh,
even 3 months. And so there's millions of dollars that he's been kind of just been proven that he's been involved in. And they didn't even, in the investigation, they didn't even use anything in the laptop. This was for something completely different.
But like I said, this is war on justice. You know why, Phil? I think they can't ever bring those things back up. So there's a risk now that all of the other scandals and all the other corruption that him and his father was, allegedly involved in, I'm not sure if there's any teeth to it anymore. The other reason why this is a war on justice is because now moving forward, anyone else, bro, who gets in trouble for things like this and they're going, they're in court, now they can bring this case up. And it's pretty much, well, what about that? What about Hunter Biden's deal? I want that deal. I want that deal.
Yeah.
And brother, they have every right to ask that. So again, this is so dangerous. Tragedy for the daughter. Did you know that the daughter can't even use his last name?
Yeah.
Not that, I don't think any of us would want her to have that last name, but that's her choice. Shouldn't she have a choice to do that?
Yeah. Wasn't it that he spent more money on the lawyers to fight the child support, which is a fraction of what he paid on lawyers to fight that.
Oh, bro, this makes my blood boil because you look at the laptop. It seems like this guy spent more on prostitutes than he wants to spend on his own daughter.
That and crack on the whole,
crack, all of it.
Whole other, and of course, talked about the trafficking that he's been allegedly involved in. And I alluded to this, and Donald Trump actually correctly predicted this, Hunter Biden would be charged with something small. And of course, double jeopardy. They can't go back to this. And some are saying that before Biden leaves office, he's going to pardon.
Yeah, and I think anybody that's been paying attention could have definitely made the same prediction. But Trump was spot on. The other thing that this thing does, bro, is it really throws out the Biden and progressives or liberals arguments. I'm not sure how much grounds they have anymore about talking about gun issues. They're totally okay with this guy walking away, pretty much. With this gun charge, caring about children. Caring about the less fortunate, caring about, the whole child support, tax evasion, all of that. They pretty much just threw all their arguments out the window. Here's the thing, though. I was talking to our producer, Matt, earlier, and I agree with him. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They know they get away with it. They know the media is going to give them a pass. They know the media is going to actually cover for them.
Yep. Here's the good news, bro. We have the 101 paratroopers who's ready to take this fight, and stand up. And I thank God, because that's why we're seeing all of these things, just like something that happened this weekend.
And him as he's been here before. Returning in front of the camera today is our very own Matt White. Get it from Matt White, our contributor and producer.
Owner, entrepreneur.
Here, the Fresno DJ company.
Yes.
Look them up, Google it. The links are all there.
And lead correspondent reporter.
Yes, they're at KXEX here in town. The AM station also too, now coming on the FM dial. Subbing a lot for the great Guillermo Moreno there at the station. But it's great having you back on Overflow. And
it's great to be here, and that's a long intro. I didn't know I was going to get that whole grand entrance there. Should have done it in the WWE voice or the UFC voice.
Coming down. Here we go. Oh, that's like a Southern gospel preacher right there.
Oh man!
Coming down. It is time. Get ready. But yeah, it's great having you back, and you experienced something firsthand there. We've been talking about this in Overflow, about the controversy in the Dodgers taking place there. They had, for those that quick recap, is that the Sisters of.
The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence.
Yes.
The Sisterhood.
They honored them like a hero night or something, right? Give them an award.
For pride.
And many Christians and Catholics came together. All Christians of different denominations came together, right? And here in Breitbart is the headline, Save Our Children. Thousands blocked the entrance to Dodger Stadium to protest Pride Night celebration. And there's a picture here. You can see the empty seats inside the stadium, and then outside is packed of people of God. What was your take there? Tell us your experience.
Well, I think the Dodgers weren't expecting an audience of this. When we actually filled out the paperwork, at least the people that I knew as the organizers, they were expecting about 600 people, but there were 5,000 Christians standing strong at LA Dodger Stadium. And it's funny because it actually wasn't even a blocking of the entrance. There were just so many people they weren't expecting. And they had kind of a set amount of police officers there. But we saw the disgrace of what these fake nuns, these homosexual men that were posing as nun, making a mockery to women that dedicate their life to God, and people coming together to praise Jesus. And you could really feel the Holy Spirit moving right outside of LA Dodger Stadium. And of course, to see the empty seats in the stadium to boo. And I think there was, I believe, Lodo, you were saying 15,000 less people were there at the game. They usually sell out against the Giants. Yeah, and actually ran into a shout out Oreo Express. Josh Fulfer was there. And he said he had a conversation with the family on the way to the stadium. And he said, what is going on in there is evil. And they turned their car around.
Wow, man.
Yes, I saw highlights of our very own also too, Dennis McCourt from Kingdom Talk was down there, and Jeremy, producer there at KXCX. You guys had a blast of just worshiping the Lord. It looks like you guys had a great time in worship. There's some B-roll going of worship. And this pack's right there in the street. I'm looking at this, hundreds of people there gathered around.
Thousands.
And Lodo?
Yeah, Phil Well was jealous, floating around in the ocean water, bro, getting a tan and everything. At the same time. But no, bro. I mean, I was so encouraged, man. Fantastic job, man. Right on to doing your part, bro. And I think that's what this really speaks to, is that if everybody does their part, it really does make a difference. And you're right, bro. So that stadium can hold 56,000 fans, but there was only 41,000 that showed up. And then even during the ceremony, this turnout was so powerful. Even the air cover couldn't even cover for this event and the people behind this. Yeah, but what I mean by that is the media couldn't even cover. Media who usually gives, this type of thing, air cover and try to make excuses, but their excuses just fell on deaf ears. They said, well, they honored him an hour and a half before the game, because they were concerned about this and that. No, they wanted to get them up there and get them out of sight right away because they saw the empty seats. They saw the big crowds outside, and then, they try to make excuses about the stadium being empty and all that. But I was just really, really glad to be a part of a community who will stand up for kids and who will drive hours and hours. You got the train over there.
Yeah, I caught the train. It was a late night train, Fresno, 10 o'clock. Last train out of Fresno to LA, and made it out there about 2 a.m. I thought it was important to be there. And it was a good testament to show there is strength in numbers, especially for Christians. We don't usually mobilize. You don't see the mobilization as much as I think we saw there to see one of the largest gatherings, at least in recent years, you'd have to say. Usually it's the left. They're organizing, they're protesting. They don't expect us to show up and actually protest. And the thing is, it wasn't even a protest. It was actually a prayerful processional. They couldn't spin
That's
it.
Right.
There was no violence. There was anything, but there were some, some evil spirits out there. There was
my gosh.
Wiccans out there trying to throw hexes on there. But, we did a perimeter prayer, and, we had Bishop Strickland from Texas that was standing strong, and a lot of our faithful there. There was a lot of people that organized that event, and took a lot of people to really put it all together to have 5,000 people.
Yes.
When the city was expecting 600.
Yeah. And a lot of people is pretty much are fed up. A lot of Christians of faith, a lot of conservatives are really fed up with them trying to shove the indoctrination. Now, I want to get your reaction, just a flashback, playing some B-roll right now of, you see here is the mockery of Jesus on the cross. You have homosexuals stripping right there at the feet of a mockery of Jesus. What was your reaction? What was your motivation to go down there? Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely despicable was one of the first thoughts when I saw that. I was surprised this was even a thing, but they've been doing this for decades, have been doing this. And I think people have hit a point where they're sick and tired of seeing, our faith mocked, and at least in this way, and then for them to disinvite them and then reinvite them and then give them an award. I didn't know if they were going to get an award initially, but then awarding this. And I think that was a big motivation for a lot of people. And of course, for myself to go down there, because they expected us to be quiet, to not show up, and just be peaceful, turn the other cheek. But there is one other thing, is they say, hey, don't judge, but to actually show up. And one thing I want to say is that we got to make sure to pray for these people, to pray for their souls, because they are in a state of sin. They're in a state of mortal sin, and they need to be prayed for so that they can be joining us in heaven one day. We just have to pray for them, because I think that's super important. We just can't go out and cast judgment and then
that's right
on the flip side. So, and I think Loda, you'd probably have to agree with that sentiment as well.
No, thank you, man. And I love what we said at another time. That, regardless of where they're at today, we want them to join us for that eternal community in heaven, brother. That's man, I'm just blessed. And that, go figure, you're a KXCX guy, that's something that we talk about, Kingdom Talk Radio, where it's kingdom, not just kingdom talk, but kingdom demonstrated. And I'm so blessed that you went out there. There's so many in your generation, bro, that I'm thankful for, that you guys are speaking back, pushing back. I think of, I forget the young man's name. He's only 27 years old himself. He runs MarcoPoloUSA.com. I would encourage everybody to go there. I would be careful, though, if you guys go there, because there's a lot of things might be from Biden's laptop. But these are young men. These are young people who are really stepping up, And Matt, it's so important that you do that, because honestly, we talked about the war and this, war and that. It's really a war in your generation. So I'm so glad that you're at the front of that, and that you have the right heart about it, that we're not there to just curse the darkness, but we're there to turn the light on.
Yep. Amen.
And again, thank you for being a great representative of a man of faith, man of God, and also to representing Overflow and KXCX and part of this segment. And that's it for
It's your new Breakers of Breakers.
Welcome back, family. Man, I feel like I say this all the time, but it's really different for me on this one. I want to introduce you to somebody that just means so much to myself and Philville. It's more than just a friend. He's been with me, man, forever. I can't remember how far back. I mean, it's not just the amount of time that we've had together. It's all the things that God has blessed us to do together. And I can honestly say this guy is one of the ones that is really like, I wouldn't be here without him. He's been such a tremendous help for myself in ministry, in life. But most importantly to me, this young man has been such a help and an impact to my family. This is someone who's always supporting me, but his support was not just because he was supporting Loto. He was actually supporting Maria. The sacrifices that he made was because he understood that Maria had a lot of responsibilities. We have the Fab Five, 5 kids, and Brandon has always looked out, for the kids. And I'll always be grateful for Brandon. I'm sure Philip has a whole list, that he can go through, but I don't want to waste any more time. Brandon Daniels, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate being here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Amen. So Brandon, today, we're talking about a few things. There is something that's very important for the family. We're going to talk about a local issue that is just going on. This is one of the reasons why we brought Brandon in. There's something going on in our local city here that we've been talking about speaking up. We've been talking about speaking back, and Brandon's one that's definitely stepped up, and now he's pushing back. Brandon, can you tell us about what we're going to talk about today?
Absolutely. We have a business that wants to build a dispensary in North Fresno, located in Pinedale, California. This dispensary will be 1,000 feet from an elementary school there and inside the community, right next door to residential houses. And so I'm coming on here to raise the alarm that everybody in Fresno and Clovis in the Central Valley should be alarmed by this. And we should definitely band together to fight it, to come against it. This has no place in our communities. This has no place for our kids. This is not safe, and we need to do everything we can to oppose it.
Wow. And this is an elementary school?
This is the elementary school that I work at. I'm from Pinedale. I was a child there. I moved there when I was real young. And I'm so blessed to be able to work there now. But yes, it's in the community. It's right next to an elementary school. Actually, the building is right next door to a house that they want to build. And by law, they need to have armed guards at all times to protect the dispensary, both in and outside.
Wow. Okay. So why is this so important to you?
Yeah, it's important to me. It should be important to everyone that lives in Fresno and Clovis, California, because if you allow this to happen in Pinedale, your local school is next, because our children's safety is dependent on them being able to get a good education and be able to live without fear of guns and violence in their community and near their school.
This is interesting, right? Because, you pointed out the whole gun thing. That should tell you something, right?
Yeah, if they need to have a gun, then it needs to be nowhere near a school.
Yes, it's that dangerous. But then when you bring up this, the crowds that for it, they'll say, well, we have to have it. It's in the laws. It's in the books. I don't know. I think that makes it even more concerning. Why is it so important that they actually had to make laws about it?
Yeah, absolutely. They need to have they have to work in cash only.
Wow.
And so they're transferring high levels of cash on a regular basis. I believe this company Embark has made over $100 million last year that they reported. Oh, okay. And so that's a false promise they're making, is that they're going to invest that money back into the community, when that's absolutely false. You're going to have their own words, between 300 to 500 patrons frequenting their establishment in cash in the community during school hours. And that's unacceptable. That should be nowhere near a school anywhere.
So, and then we're also talking about the location of it, where it's so close to the school, and it probably doesn't have to be that close to the school, does it?
Absolutely. Anyone that knows Fresno, they know Blackstone, they know the shopping center we have in North Fresno. You want to build something like that, build it across the street, across Blackstone. You don't build it on the side where we have kids, single parents, families walking every day to go around and to get by school. It's completely inappropriate for it to be in a residential area. And I might add, there's a dispensary 1 mile to the west and less than a mile to the east of where they're projected to build. It's inappropriate. And it's setting up the groundwork for something very dangerous for our students.
Yeah, we see those students walking around. I've driven by there, and
I was one of them.
Yeah. And you know, they hang out after school. They linger. They go get something to eat at the corner store.
Absolutely.
And so when they're walking around, and those types of dispensaries, if you've drove by some of them, they attract a certain demo.
Absolutely.
That they just loiter there, and they try to, you know, they don't attract the most best people sometimes, you know what I mean? So, and that's where the kids can be around. I can see why you're taking a stand.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I was one of those kids that I grew up with a single mom, and I remember walking around Pinedale. You're going to your friend's house, knocking on the door. Just the other day, I drove by. There are some students that I saw walking down the street with water guns. They look like they're about to go have a water gun fight. Can you imagine them walking by this place with these firearm lookalikes walking right in this parking lot where there's going to be firearms there? This just sets the groundwork for a misunderstanding that should never be present in a child's life ever.
Yeah. Can you imagine so many different scenarios? Like if the kids, if and God forbid they have cash, maybe they hand that cash to somebody else and, hey, can you get me something? And because it's just right there.
The opportunity will never be there if this location does not have a dispensary there. Kids need a safe, healthy place to grow, and this doesn't need to happen. This needs to be set it up somewhere else. But this is a residential area. Kids aren't even going to be allowed to go outside because common sense parents are going to say, "We live on this street, across the street from that dispensary. You're not going to ride your bike outside. What if a bullet goes off?"
Brandon, you said that you grew up there, bro. Let's be honest. We're talking about kids. I've been a kid. You've been a kid. Your mom tells you, "Hey, don't go right over there." What do you think is going to happen?
As soon as she goes to work, man, I'll be over there.
Yes. And then how many times do we climb into things to see what this is about and that about? And
unfortunately, I mean, I joked around. I mean, when I was younger, we would have, me and my friends would try and get on the roof at the school, you know, and the cops would drive by. We'd jump off. We'd be so scared. It was so funny and so exciting. And I could just imagine with armed guards of kids seeing what's going on and wanting to hop the fence and, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Not safe for our kids. I would be one of those kids to get myself in trouble fooling around something like that.
A lot of the other adults I know are not happy about that. A lot of parents are not happy about that. And the fight that's taking place to get to pass it so they could. What took place with that?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert in it, but I do know that this is located in Zone 2, and there's a group of people that heard both sides of this, and they voted to conditionally approve it. Now we are on Thursday, June 22nd, and tomorrow, June 23rd, they're going to be taking another vote to approve it. So it's been conditionally approved, and there's a group of people in Pinedale, led by Richard Amparano, a pastor there, Linda Amparano, Lori Garcia, and some other people who live there who are organizing everything. Actually, today at 5:30, they're going to be organizing a protest at the location. And it's because they want to sound the alarm. It's not appropriate for kids to be around this kind of a danger.
What is it that people can do? Those who want to stand with you, those who wants to push things like this back, what are some of the things that you would advise them to do?
Absolutely. So everyone needs to call their council members, their personal council members, and say that if this goes to a vote before the city council, they want them to oppose it, because that's what it might come down to. Before that, what you can do is you could email public comments planning at fresno.gov, ccrobert.holt@fresno.gov. You could put in the subject line CPU, conditional use permit, CPU application number P2300801. Okay. And you could just state that you are opposed to this dispensary being placed near homes. The address is going to be 7363 North Blackstone. And so you guys can send that there, and just contact the city council members. Let them know that you are against this, that you stand against it. And if we're going to allow this to happen in that community at Pinedale, then in no time, it'll be in your community. It'll be where your kids go to school.
It'll be your kids. Now, by the time that this drops, some of these things might have taken place. In the case that they do pass, I believe that there's an appeal time, or how does that work?
Yeah, if this passes, I'm no expert, but if this passes, it's going to go to appeal, and I believe the city council is going to be able to take a vote on it. So that's why I was saying, depending on when this comes out, there's any time you decide to reach out to your city council members and tell them to oppose this is appropriate. Now, I watched the hearing live, and these people right after they got done with Pinedale about what the business benefit this dispensary has, they were speaking to a business that wanted to open a liquor license in a nice area of Zone 2, and they were concerned about the kids. Well, how are you going to keep the kids away from the alcohol? This is public record. You can look at the hearing. What are you guys going to do to keep the kids away? How are you guys going to do this? How are we going to ensure kids don't access this alcohol? But just a short time before that, when we're talking about marijuana in a dispensary, they're just prioritizing the business, the benefits, the financials, and they're not prioritizing our kids, me. When I was a kid, our community's kids, and that's they let us down, and that's why I'm speaking up against this. That's why we have so many people that are trying to find any way they can to be a part of this.
Yes, thank you so much, bro. Thank you for doing that. Everybody, make sure that you send those emails in. Who's the council member here?
In this area, it's Mike Karabasi.
Mike Karabasi.
That's in Zone 2, yeah.
Let's make sure that we let Mike Karabasi how we feel about these things, and let him know that this can, cause us to be supportive in his next term or not supportive. I think everybody understands what I'm saying.
Well, let me just jump in. Luis Chavez is my representative too, and I've reached out, and he needs to stand against his dispensary.
Yeah, that's good. And so if it goes to the city council, the Fresno City Council, and they pass it, can the mayor then veto?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, okay.
We'll find out, bro. I'm so glad, Brandon, that you really stepped up in this way, man. I think you're a fantastic person to get ahead of this. I know that you're going to be in contact with other city leaders. You'll be on other platforms. Brandon, for those that wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Yeah, you could just reach me on social media, Brandon Daniels. Facebook, I'm accessible there. Instagram, I'm accessible there. Brandon Daniels, you can reach me on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, bro. It was it's awesome to have you on here, especially for this subject, bro, because this area, it's not just another area for you. You touched on it a little bit as you were talking. This actually it's a historic place for you.
Yeah, absolutely. My father passed away when I was 8 years old, and my family was kind of left in a very vulnerable position. And so my mom moved from Los Angeles with her 5 kids so that we could live with my great grandmother while we got stable. And so my great grandmother actually built 2 houses in Pinedale, rented one, lived in one, and so she graciously at her older age welcomed her granddaughter with her 5 kids into the home. And I think the day after, 2 days later, I enrolled at the local school, Pinedale, as a 3rd grader. I started going there, and the community of Pinedale was a safe haven for me because coming from Los Angeles, where it was so big and so dangerous, even though you have so much uncertainty in Pinedale, people look out for each other there. There is a sense of community. No matter the kind of negative things that happen there, people look out for each other. People want to support each other. So that's where I grew up. I grew up going to the Pinedale Boys and Girls Club, the Pinedale Community Center. I was always at the Pinedale Elementary School. A funny story is I remember on a Saturday morning I was at the school, and an old lady approached me and invited me to church. And I graciously said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. And she's like, well, there's going to be donuts. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll be there. So I show up at 7:00 in the morning on Sunday in the Pinedale cafeteria. And I'm like, hey, where are the donuts? And they're like, oh, that's after service at about 11 a.m. So I have to sit through the whole service.
Well played.
God bless them. And so when I think about Pinedale, I think about, it's somewhere where I in the cafeteria at the local school, I heard about Jesus Christ, and I was exposed to great role models, Pastor Richard Linden Alvarado, who they mentored the community. And I mean, I don't know who's going to hear this, but I took advantage of them. I would knock on their door at any time of the day, any day of the week. They'd open their door and let me in. I don't want all the kids to run to their house and start knocking on the door. But I sometimes I just wanted to play basketball in the yard. They had a basketball hoop, and I would just show up and start doing it. If I needed some money, I could ask to cut the pastor's lawn, and he'd pay me. And it was where like this sense of community was built, this place for safety to be built. And so that's why Pinedale means so much to me. I'm so fortunate that now I get to teach there. I'm that's such a blessing.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, I'm a teacher there. I've been teaching there for a couple of years now.
Praise God.
Yeah, special education teacher. And so being able to pour back into the kids and being able just to be there And I count my blessings every day because the people that poured into me, I get to turn around and pour back into other people. And so I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. And that's why we need to fight for that area. That's why we need to come and stand against it and say, we're not going to allow people to come in and manipulate our kids for money. And I was that kid. And so it's personal to me. It's very personal, just like it'd be personal for anybody. I don't live in Pinedale anymore, but that's still personal. It's always going to be personal to me. And so I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to be loud and to do whatever I have to do to make sure that the city knows we're not going to be quiet about this.
Amen.
Yeah.
Family, now we see why Brandon's so passionate about this.
That's what exactly. Passionate. He's very passionate.
Yes.
And Lola, you and I have known him for years, as you were saying, and we're youth leaders at the youth group at Cornerstone, and we've seen you grow up as a teenager. Yeah. And I love that when we have many conversations, you would say that people maybe have counted you out, because you're one of those kids. You had a lot of energy, very enthusiastic.
I was very annoying. Very annoying. Talk too much. And not get paid to talk.
Praise
yes.
And to tell kids what to do. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, absolutely. So I talk too much. And so that's why we're going to continue to talk about these issues.
Yes.
And I'm not going to stop about it.
Just real quick, bro. Just real quick. I really want to, I want, Phil, if you could get that scripture ready.
Yep.
And Brandon, you mentioned earlier that you lost your father at such an early age. So I think you're the right person to ask something like this. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I want to ask Philip to read Psalms, a verse from the Bible, Psalms 68 verses 5 and 6, or just 5. It's up to you, bro.
Okay. All right.
And then if you could just respond to the verse.
A father of the fatherless, a defender of widows, is God in his holy habitation. God sets solidarity in families. He brings out those who are bound into his prosperity. But the rebellious dwell in the dry land.
Yeah, I get emotional about that scripture because, I think every boy needs a father, and I didn't have that growing up. And you gentlemen have been have filled that spot in my life from time to time, and that's something that I've yearned for, and something that continues to take me back to the cross. It continues to remind me like that, God, you are my heavenly Father. And you will supply all my needs. And you have never seen God's people forsaken, begging for bread. And I've done very well in life, and I'm going to continue to do very well. And I say that not to brag, but just to point to God's goodness and God's holiness that, I didn't have a father, and that breaks my heart, but I'm going to cling to the cross. I'm going to cling to Christ, and I'm going to submit to him. And I know he'll make my path straight. He'll provide that counsel to me. He'll send the people in the right time to be able to be that for me. But I have a responsibility. It's not about woe is me, Brandon, and what I've had to go through and what I've been through. I need to turn around now. And I know that there are kids that are in my situation, if not worse. And I need to be able to have the ability to reach my hand out to them, to be able to say, I'm going to stand in the gap. I'm going to be one of the people that Nehemiah talked about in the Bible. I'm going to restore the broken things in this world. It's not someone else's responsibility. That's not pastor's responsibility. That's not the governor's responsibility. It's my responsibility. And it's your responsibility to speak up and to do whatever you can to be there for those who are fatherless, or those who are widows, and those who have been down and out.
Amen, bro. Wow. Like I mentioned earlier, family, Brandon has such a special place in our lives, in our family, and even ministry. If I had to rebuild lots of ministries from bottom up in a person, I point to this guy right here. I point to this guy. He's everything that we prayed for. He's just what he's doing and all that, and it's only because of his heavenly Father. I thank God that we got to play a role as far as, being earthly role models and all that. And I feel a twinge of almost regret, because Brandon, I think I told you this before, but man, I know your father is just smiling, and if he could be here, man, I know he would just waterfall on you with just father's pride, and just, man, brother, you're such a great example. Philip pointed out, you've overcome some things. So, me, bro, you know me, it's, I'm about putting people on the spot, and grabbing moments, and sink or swim. Brandon, if you could look at the camera, I'm sure there's a lot of Brandons out there, bro. Would you mind just saying something to them before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I'll say that you're good enough. You have what it takes to be what God made you to be. It may be scary. There may be times where you feel like the moment's too big for you. You may think about all the things that can go wrong, but trust God. Walk in your confidence that you're doing what you need to be doing. And that's in anything, getting through college, pursuing your spouse, being the father maybe that you never had, going the extra mile, whether you're a janitor, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a construction worker, whether you're flipping burgers, whether you're a council member, do what you know you have to do and do it unto the Lord, and everything's going to work out.
I don't know how to respond to that, bro. That's powerful stuff, bro.
Man, that's so much. Thank you, Brandon. A dear friend of ours for many years, a family. We get together for barbecues and
parties,
Easters, and now you're a father of 2.
Yeah, father of 2, man. I'm spoiled. I'm definitely spoiled, man. I tell you that.
Great kids.
Yeah, I got some wonderful kids, man.
Avery and what do you call him? Brother now.
I call him brother. Yeah. So
yes.
my son's Brandon, and I didn't grow up in a Hispanic household, but Fresno, very Hispanic. So right away, my wife said, "I'm not calling him Junior. We're not doing that." And so I said, "Yeah, no, we'll just I don't know what we're calling him, but I want to, my dad named my older brother after him, and I wanted to honor my father by carrying that tradition."
Awesome.
And so, he popped out, and everything was healthy, and then I don't know, it just kind of fit. I know.
Popped out yet?
Yeah, I know. Loto's son is also Loto, and they call him brother. And so I grew up, hey brother, man, can you do this for me? Hey brother, how you doing? And so in our house, it just stuck, and I look at that as a way to honor Loto and the man he's been in my life. And so we call our son brother when he's at home. And we call him Brandon, and that's good. We're good with that.
And he loves Maria.
Yeah, he does.
Which
hey, he comes to me too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Maria and Phil are probably his favorite people, actually.
Because of all the candies, bro, that he doesn't get to get otherwise. But man, praise God, bro. Just I'm just sitting here and I think everybody's surprised that I'm speechless because everybody knows I can definitely drop some words and all that. But Brandon, you're such a blessing, brother. We're so God proud of you, man, that you really stepped up, but just the man that you have become, the husband that you are, and the father. I love you, the way that you love your kids, bro. It's so awesome. It's great to see you just, how you're fathering them and everything like that. But thank you so much, bro, for coming on the show, man, and talking about this very important issue. Family, we need to get behind this. We're going to do this. Like we said, we're not just going to sit around anymore. We're going to step up. We're going to, push back, and I'm so glad that we got to show that today.
In honor of fathers, and Father's Day recently passed, and we celebrate. You are now a father. Okay, so we have the top 5 kind of funny gifts that dads have received, right? So there's one called number 5. We have Dad Fuel energy drink. Help your dad keep up with his busy schedule by giving him the silly Dad Fuel energy drink, complete with a personalized label.
Sounds like a Father's Day gift. Fathers, you need to get this.
Is this the gift list? Okay. All right. Moving forward.
Yeah, it sounds like something a father would get. That's Yes, believe that. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one, number 4, Grills Surgeon Barbecue Apron. If your dad is a grill master, this apron will, with the Grill Sergeant print.
Oh, Grill Sergeant.
Oh, thank you.
Is it Sergeant?
If you say it again, Sergeant. Yes. Okay.
There you go. Not surgeon. I thought it was surgeon. Like after you eat too much and you go into a diabetic coma, then the surgeon part would take. But I was wrong.
No, that's actually a better gift.
And there we go, right there. Yeah, Grill Surgeon.
Yeah, when you pick up barbecue sauce, you get your insulin pen, and you can kind of handle your life.
There he goes. Okay, that's better. Yeah, Grill Surgeon now, not
surgeon.
Yeah.
Patented. Okay, that's patent. Verbal patent agreement.
Hey, there we go. You got to ask ChatGPT how to make a business plan out of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 3, Dad Bod Fanny Pack. Embrace the dad bod phenomenon with this belly-like fancy pack that adds a humorous twist to his style. That was a gift. I probably need that one right there.
Okay, Brandon, and you guys will probably need that because you guys need the belly. I wouldn't, bro. So yeah, that's kind of
No, I read it. No,
Like a
I thought it was
personal
for the belly, so it's extra.
Oh, to cover it.
Yeah, it's
I thought it
5X.
was to give you a belly.
That's a dumb gift.
Ooh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah, we gotta go back to the gym. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, don't be bad children. Don't.
See, that's why I'm not about the dad, but I'm all about the father figure.
Father figure.
I told the boys, I say, look, man, because you guys know they're all athletes. Like, hey, man, it takes you guys a year or two to get that six pack. It takes a lifetime to get the family.
Looks like a father.
Yeah. Some people call it the kegger, but we'll keep it G on the show.
Father figure. You better figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's happening?
And number 2, world's okayest dad mug.
Wow, that's why we have a fatherlessness issue in this country.
Yeah,
because children are just these gifts.
Right.
Okay, it's dad. Yeah, no.
They make them the dads of the pun of every joke, right? On The Simpsons and all these other sitcoms. Yeah. And number 1, dad joke loading t-shirt. Let everyone know that your dad's joke game is always on point with this funny t-shirt.
I think we should stop talking bad about dad jokes. I mean, I just saw a video on YouTube of a group of dads that went to a school where there were tons of fights. Police were called. And how did they solve this issue? They solved it by fathers going in, standing in the gap, and telling dad jokes to get kids back to class. So I support this shirt. I think that's the good number 1 dad shirt gift.
I think there's a difference of dad jokes or dad being the joke.
Yeah, don't be the joke.
Yeah, right? No. I gotta throw it. Speaking of dad jokes, here's a couple little jokes and see if you can figure these out. What do you call a fish wearing a crown?
Tuna, sushi?
King Neptune.
Wow. Dad joke.
Dad joke.
Yeah, dad joke.
Dad joke.
Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was an outstanding in his field.
What's going on?
Okay, where's one more? Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts.
Wow.
Somebody help
Well, that's it.
No, there's one more.
Oh, really? What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. Well, that's it for our dad jokes. But, Brandon, thank you again for being on. Great conversation about fatherhood and the fatherless. Just anything you want to say before we close here?
No, man, I just want to say I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys giving me this time and hanging out with you guys. It's always been fun. Thank you guys for watching and being a part of this. And let's continue to fellowship. Let's continue to fight for our city and stand for the kids.
All right. I want to echo that. Thank you for following, watching, hearing, and don't forget to smash that subscribe and follow button in all our different channels here. And thank you for being part. And God has some great things in store in the future for all of us here. And thank you for being part of Overflow EXC podcast.
Love ya. Lord bless.
Lord bless. Keep it loving. Jesus, believe it. Hit me up on Facebook.
I'm gonna replace my greeting with that on the phone.
You've been listening to Overflow, the extended conversation, obliterating social norms and overrunning the cultural corrosion with righteous rhetoric and common sense. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on social media at Overflow EXT. Lord bless, and we'll see you next time on Overflow, the extended conversation.